Southern Railfan is the place for amazing videos of all types of trains. Southern Railfan, subscribe today.
Okie dokie, we're gonna review the train layout. The footage I had before of doing the wiring and all that stuff is into somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I'm not gonna be able to find it. Got sucked into the cloud and got rained out somewhere else, I guess. But anyway, this is what's happening on the layout right now. And that locomotive running is all because of this right here, this Digitrak DCS 52. And that's what this layout was wired up for. And it also has a DB100 booster there for this programming track. And I've been looking around for a DCC system, Digitraks. I bought one lot of stuff and it just had a booster and it didn't actually have the DCS. And my buddy Nate said, I've got an extra one. Let me send that up to you. So that's how we wound up with this. And once Nate gave me that, and he was so gracious in doing that, I really want to say thank you for that, buddy. I got it all wired up over here and still was having some problems. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Stuck a couple different locomotives on the track and it was just acting all kinds of crazy. Well, the roundhouse and the turntable is also digital. Is that the word I'm looking for? DCC, that's what I'm trying to say. And this is a controller for it. And you can see there, I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera, but it is ready to go there. And the problem I was having is you can see these tracks are loose from where I had to take this roundhouse off the table as I was transporting this layout back to my house. And what was happening, one of those rails was touching the other one. And it took me forever to figure that out. Now this entire layout is wired for DCC, and it has these little plugs that go across. So actually this one's for the lights that are in this roundhouse. You can see the little lights there, but the tracks are set up similar as far as wiring goes, and we got all that stuff put together and was checking everything, and then everything was good to go on that end with the DCS 52. Now later on I may add a remote onto it so I can get out a little bit further along, because if you've watched the videos in the past, you'll know that the table has these Digitraks LocoNet panels around the outside to get that worked on. And I've got several different DCC, well, I don't have several. I've got 3 DCC locomotives. This is a Broadway Limited Paragon 2 used. This SW9, I think is what it is a Elgin, Juliet, and Eastern. I really like that locomotive. When I was in boot camp, I could look out across the grinder and see one of these little locomotives over there switching. So it kind of reminded me of home. And then the best running locomotive I have, believe it or not, is this Bachmann sound value. I mean, it was a super cheap locomotive. I think shipping and everything together, it was like maybe $75 or something like that from Train World. They had them on sale, but it runs without any problem at all. These other ones I think either needs to have the contacts cleaned on them or have the wheels cleaned on them, because they are boogers sometimes to get them running. And I need to go to Lowe's and get a piece of, not a piece, but a one of those screw leg adapters to where I can put on the bottom of that 2x4. I don't know if you can see that, level this part of the layout up, because it's all jacked up right there, because that 2x4 on this side is just a little bit short, and that's just a normal deviation in the concrete floor. All right, before I forget, I want to go back and I gave a little teaser about that antique book. I want to talk about it in just a second. In past videos talking about the layout and even the shelf layout in the office in there, I've mentioned that how I'm able to purchase, I guess you could call it purchase, stuff for the layout and the actual layout itself. I really can't afford to put any money into it. So what I do is I buy lots of items, like boxes of trains and stuff that somebody's either selling that was a family member, or they get out of the hobby or whatever. It might have one or two items in it that I'd like to be able to keep. So what I do, just like looking for that DCS system, I'll look on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, or sometimes on eBay, but it's hard to buy lots of stuff off of eBay because there's so many people bidding on it. But and then I'll find a lot that, hey, this has got one or two things in it that I'd like to have for the layout, and I'll sell the rest of the stuff off to pay for what I pay for the layout. So I wind up getting the stuff for free. It doesn't come along too often, but that's how I actually got the layout itself and the last several additions that I've got for the layout. Well, the reason I ramble off about that is because in one of these latest lots, there happened to be this book down in the bottom of a box. And you can tell it is old. Super, super duper old. And I thought it was just a train book, but let me show you the inside of it. When you just open the book, of course on the front of it, in the front cover here, it says, that's abbreviation right there for George C. Shaw, 1896. And down here it says, this book was given to the wife of Aubrey Shaw, mauled by George Shaw's wife in June 9th of 1947. And I thought, well, this is cool. This is a railroad book, which it started life as a railroad book, the Charlotte, Columbia, and Augusta Railroad, which actually went out of business, or was absorbed rather, in like the 1870s. And in the front of the book, there's all these men's hat sizes, and it says size of station men's heads. I thought, what in the world? I mean, train station, yeah, I could see that, but why in the world would you be measuring the top of people's heads, their hat size? And if it was one or two employees, I could understand, but I mean, it's a huge amount of people. And then there's some other stuff, some personal officers that needed to be paid back for certain things. And I thought, officers? What? And then I get on back in the book, and there's all these cutouts of original newspaper articles about fires, building fires, home fires, factory fires around Richmond, Virginia. And I got to reading, I thought, good gosh, is this some kind of pyromaniac or whatever that's been collecting all these stories? And this is one of the first stories I was reading, and I got to looking at the article title. It says Chief Shaw's Ideas. And I thought, that's pretty cool. And then it dawned on me, this George C. Shaw was the fire chief. and he just happened to pick up this this railroad book to start making this kind of just a collection of stories. And he's involved in every one of these fires that's collected through this book. And there's, sorry about my dirty fingernails, but I thought, my gosh, that's awesome. And then I start reading this, and it says, "Our Firemen in Line." And it's got hand-drawn pictures of each of the firemen. And lo and behold, there is Assistant Chief George C. Shaw. So I love history. And so I've read the majority of this book. Some of them, the stories are, of course, tragic. Some of them are absolutely amazing. There's one story in here about a man falling 12 stories. And at the end of it, it said he refused to go to the hospital, but he did accept a wagon ride home. So, and it's just amazing. The language, it's all English, obviously, but the language and how they used the English language back then is nothing like we do now. So this kind of ties all together with the DCS 52 over there that my buddy Nate gave me. So I contacted, first of all, the University of Virginia, and then I contacted the Richmond, Virginia Fire Department, and they have a museum at their Station 1. So a lot of people can appreciate this book and be able to read it and look at it. I've donated this book to that museum in Nate Wilkie's name. That's who gave me the DCS system there. So this is going to Virginia Monday morning to be added into that museum. They're supposed to send me some pictures and everything of the display when that is finished. So always pay it forward. Alrighty, now that we've looked at the book, let me show you some of the new additions that's going to be going on to this layout that I've picked up here recently. Okay, these are all Woodland Scenic built and ready buildings. And I put this one first in line because it's kind of a fire theme on this video. This is an older fire station with a ladder and engine company. Here is a station. I can't see if I can move this one without it dropping. It's got a semaphore. I thought that was pretty cool. There's a Meg A. Watts power station. I'm going to set that on some of the sidings over there and have some coal cars out by it. A community church. This is a little post office. And this is a Cornerstone by Walthers, a water tower. I thought about maybe taking the top off of that and doing a little, oh gosh, I can't even think of there used to be a television show back in the 70s that came on after Green Acres, but it had a train and they all were always swimming in top of the water tower. Of course, I'm right in the middle of a video and I can't remember the name of it. So if you remember the name of that, a Petticoat Junction, that's the name of the show. See. There's Betty's Burning Building, and that's got some LED signs in it. There's Harrison's Hardware. This one is another little building of some type. What is it? That's a general store. Lubner's General Store. There's a theater that also has LED lights in it. This is just a little crane. There's another windmill. Here's a big Clyde and Dale's barrel factory. JW Cobblers. Here's a gas station, a corner emporium, and then a barn. And again, I picked all these up in one lot and was able to sell the other items in that lot to where I could afford, well, it paid for these buildings. I could keep these buildings. And it also had two houses. and I think they were cornerstone. But another buddy of mine, Jack, needed some houses for his layout, so I sent those on to him. In the upcoming weeks, move that out of the way, this is the area I'm going to be working on with some scenery. I'm going to build up this corner here, and I'm going to add some trees. I have tons and tons of trees. This was some lighting. I was considering lighting this yard. The old-timey, not old-timey in particular, but a lot of the older designed yards would have spotlights shining down on to the yard for safety of the personnel working around the car. So I'm thinking about maybe adding that into there. And on the other side of this factory, I'm going to add another factory out there, maybe one of those that we've seen in there. I think I'm going to DC a couple of the storage tracks off the old turntable there and work out something there where I can maybe get a little town going, possibly either on this side or this side of this center part of the table. If I'm going to do this side, I'm going to try to do a little bit of street running there, so I've always thought that was pretty cool. Okie dokie, that's a quick update on the layout, a little ramble on about that book, and I'm really going to throw on to the layout next week. I hope I'm going to have some time in the night to start working on that and get some of that scenery going. So I'll probably be posting some videos about that, and mostly asking for advice, because the scenery and all that stuff is all very new to me. So hope you enjoyed that. I'm also posting a regular train video today and a couple of shorts later on tonight. So thank you guys for watching.